All right, hello everybody. It is Coach Talon, your coach of the Atlanta Braves, bringing to you a bit of a draft analysis. We were invited slash applied for Pokemon All Stars Championship, I believe is how it goes. Pokemon All Stars Championship Gmax League. We applied for it and we did get accepted, and we have played our week 1 match already. But I wanted to bring you guys what is it called? A little bit of a draft analysis. No fancy slides or anything like that, because simply I don't know how to make those, and I'm also kind of lazy, and I want to get this out just because I just feel like going into because I do plan to upload it. Going into, I want you guys to know what is it called? How do I word this? I want you to know like who we can have to our disposal and who we can bring. So with that being said, we had 5th pick of the overall draft. Not the best spot considering that there was 10 people in the draft. So it honestly is probably like one of the worst positions. But I think we were able to grab a pretty decent team with it, and I'm really excited to use the mons that we have. Some are new mons, some are old mons that I've used before, and some are just mons that I usually just rely on to be there for me and have my back. So to start us off, we picked up our Gmax round 1. And we picked up Gmax Melmetal. And to be honest, I wasn't like super big on getting this. I was like, if it's there, maybe I'll grab it, because it's the big nut. Like, you have to grab it. So I grabbed it, and don't get me wrong, Melmetal is not a bad Pokemon at all. I mean, do you see these stats? Like, it is very high in HP, it's very high in attack and defense. Its special defense is a little lackluster, but there are things like Assault Vest that exist in the world, so we can use that. Obviously, its speed tier is terrible, but we don't talk about it. And if you're really feeling kind of cheeky with this 80 special attack stat, there's nothing saying you can't run a special Melmetal. It does get a decent plethora of moves. It gets access to things like Slender Punch, fighting type moves like Brick Break and Body Press. Obviously, it has Double Iron Bash, its signature move, the best move. I wouldn't say the best move in the game, but a very powerful move, especially considering Melmetal's attack stat. So it's very cool. Apparently has a 30% chance to flinch, which I honestly did not know that. So that's pretty cool. You learn something new every day. But it gets good coverage like Ice Punch, Darkest Lariat. Has access to Rock Slide and things like that. It gets access to Toxic, but what doesn't in this generation? It has Thunder Waves, so I mean, if you want to run some speed in this and Thunder Wave your like opponents to slow them down and outspeed them, you definitely can. There's nothing stopping you from doing so, and maybe it's something I will eventually do later on. But with that being said, Gmax Meltdown is its signature move when it's Gigantamax, which puts targets in like a torment state, so they can't use the same move twice, which is probably pretty good for me. I mean, considering I'm gonna be hit with probably this, they're probably gonna have like that one mon that counters me every like the whole game. They're like, that's their Melmetal check, and it's just gonna spam me with one move. So being able to torment that mon specifically would be pretty good. So moving into our next round, and to be honest, the rounds might be a little skewed here. I'm not exactly sure what I picked up when I picked it up and stuff like that. But moving in, we have Latios. Latios is a very fast and offensive Pokemon on the special side. With a base 110 special defense or speed stat, base 110 special defense stat, and base 130 special attack stat. So you can slap a Choice Scarf on this because it's not the fastest thing, to help it outspeed like some faster mons. Obviously, maybe outspeed some mons that might try to counter it by being Choice Scarf themselves. But all around, you're running like offensive items on this thing. I know it gets its own personal item, but it did get kind of nerfed, seeing how I'm fairly sure it only works for psychic type attacks now. But other than that, it gets access to things like Dragon Claw. Well, I don't know why I'm saying Dragon Claw. Draco Meteor. Dragon Pulse will be hitting hard considering it's a 130 special attack stat. It gets amazing coverage. Energy Ball here, Grass Knot, Ice Beam, Shadow Ball, Thunderbolt. It even gets access to things like Surf. So all around, just amazing coverage on this mon, and something that I'm really excited to use, because I don't think I've used either of the Lati twins, and I have them in my 2 leagues that I'm currently in right now. So really excited to use those 2 mons. Really excited to use this one specifically. And yeah, so all around, just a pretty good mon. Really excited to see what I can do with it. I know there are some like sub combine sets, and you do know I love my subs, so maybe we can get some of those in. And that is my phone. I'm so sorry. Let me turn that off. Now moving into our 3rd round, we picked up Keldeo. Keldeo is a really good mon. Again, almost matching Latios's special attack stat. It's one of those glass cannon mons. It's very fast. It does have a little bit of like, can withstand probably a hit at most from like maybe like not super, I wouldn't say super effective moves, but like effective moves, as long as it can get like a hydro pumped or a scald or whatever you want to throw on this thing and hit it. As long as he can hit it, to be honest, it'll be fine. Like it's not super bulky, and there are definitely mons that can really easily counter it when it comes to, can Keldeo just sit in front of them and spam them with attacks? Considering its defenses aren't great, it's one of those glass cannon mon. You run your choice specs, you run your substitutes sometimes with the leftovers, you run your choice scarf sometimes. So it's one of those mons that has like predetermined sets that you can kind of just guess when you first go into the battle. You can kind of be like, okay, it's gonna be this set. And especially when you see that damage first of all and see what their first move is, then you know for sure what their set is. So there's that. But it does what it's supposed to do well, in my opinion. So I'm not too concerned about it. I think it'll be a pretty nice addition to the team, and I'm excited to see what we can get done. So moving into round number 4, we did pick up Arcanine. Arcanine has it's amazing coverage. It can go on the offensive with like, see that 110 attack stat. It can go on the pretty defensive. It's a pretty defensive Pokemon as well. You can just run fat like the leftovers or heavy duty boots with like toxic and flamethrower and things like that. All around just a really good mon. I've used it before and it's never disappointed me, so I'm really excited. It does get some interesting coverage in the form of like Dragon Pulse. It gets priority and extreme speed. It gets crunch. It gets scorching sands. So things like that. It gets access to Iron Head. So things like that. Play rough. Really excited to use this mon. Like I said, it's pretty bulky. Not like super fast, but you know, it can definitely take a hit if you throw one at it. And then it can also go in the offensive. So if like I put a choice scarf on it or whatever it is, you know, I'm really excited to use this mon. And I think it can do a lot for the team. So going to this next round, this is where things get a little iffy. I don't know when I picked up what, because this is actually one of the mons that I picked up off of like trades, off of FA, free agent picks, and it's Gastrodon. Gastrodon wasn't taken, surprisingly, and it's a very defensive Pokemon with a 111 HP stat and some pretty decent defenses. It's a very defensive mon. It's going to be taking your hits. It's going to be eating everything that you want to throw at it. And it gets access to things like Toxic. It gets access to Yawn. It gets access to Recover, which makes it even more annoying, seeing as it can heal itself. It has Scald for potential status. And it gets access to Earth Power for potential lowering of your stats, and that will just rack up and really be a problem for you later on down the line. So it's one of those mons that can just sit in front of everything and be perfectly fine as long as it's not a grass type. So I think I've used Gastrodon before. I'm not too sure. Yes, I did. Wait, no, have I? I don't know. But I've definitely seen Gastrodon pull off some amazing stunts with just being able to sit and stall and whittle down some opponents. So it's pretty crazy. It could again have that like little clutch kind of where you don't want to, but you kind of have to stall end games. Where you just have to Toxic, Recover, Scald over and over again, maybe even Protect, and you know, you just have to, it's what you gotta do sometimes. So moving into our next round, we have Lycanrock. Lycanrock is actually a mon that I have used before. I haven't used it in Sand, I believe, but I have used it in the past just as a really fast mon. Again, a glass cannon, similar to Keldeo, just a little bit more of a glass cannon in my opinion. It's really fast and it's going to be hitting really hard with a base 115 attack stat. So, you know, you run your choice bands, you run your life orbs on this mon really, and you hit hard. It has really powerful stone edges. It gets access to close combat, crunch, play rough, things like that. So it has pretty good coverage for things that want to come in on this. It gets access to things like drill run as well. So nothing really wants to take a move from Lycanrock, considering how powerful this mon hits and how fast it is. It's usually outspeeding everything, and it's just gonna be doing damage. It's simple as that. You run your choice bands and you're done. You can't. Nobody's like wants a choice band Stone Edge or a choice band Play Rough or Psychic Frames or Close Combat. You know, especially when it's coming off a base 115 attack stat. So we grabbed a mon that I'm very familiar with. In the next round, we grabbed Dhelmise. Dhelmise is such an amazing Pokemon. It's so fat, and it's a spin blocker. It's offensive with a base 131 attack stat. So even if you're not running any kind of investment into like attack or anything, you're still going to be hitting pretty hard. Like, it's not something that you really want to mess with. Base 100 defense with a 70 HP stat, base 90 defense, so if you want to go especially defensive, there are assault vests that exist in the world. So all around, this Pokemon is just, it's great, well-rounded Pokemon in my opinion. It's a spin blocker, it rapid spins itself, it gets access to toxic and synthesis and like poltergeist, so you can find out items, power whips, things like that. It's just an all-around great Pokemon, and I'm really excited to have it back on the team. Good old Davy Jones never fails man. So moving into our next round, we picked up a mon that I do have in the INT. We picked up Aromatisse. Aromatisse is a pretty good mon, like I said in my INT draft. It's kind of it's been able to take down, like whittle down and be annoying to some of the staples in Draft League, more specifically the Dragon types of Draft League, which most Dragon types are very powerful. And so being able to have a mon that can just sit in front of like really offensive Pokemon and be able to take a hit with being able to wish pass and protect and toxic and things like that, it's just an all-around annoying Pokemon that not everybody really wants to deal with, but now they have to, considering I have it. So moving into our next round, we have Armaldo. Armaldo gives me more hazard control with hazard like setting as well. He gets access to Stealth Rocks, which Lycanrock also does. So if I want to do like a suicide lead with Stealth Rocks on Lycanrock, I can. Not necessarily that I will, but it's a plausible thing. So Armaldo gets access to things like Knockoff, it gets access to Stealth Rocks, it gets access to Rapid Spin, Toxic, like every mon in this generation does. So all around, it's just really here to be a defensive mon, and I mean, it can hit hard. It's like Domai's, in my opinion. It's not super like great on the special defense side, but on the physical defense side, it's really good, along with that powerful attack stat. No matter what, even if you're not invested, it's going to be doing damage. Moving into our last round, we have our second to last round, we have Lilligant. And to be honest, I didn't know what else to grab. My original pick was Eldegoss, but it got taken from me, so I ended up picking Lilligant. And I mean, Lilligant isn't bad. It's more of like one of those mons that kind of rely on its setup in order to do good. Lilligant is always going to be running that like Quiver Dance 3-move set. Maybe with the synthesis in there. Does it even get synthesis? Yeah, it does. Okay. And I mean, I guess if you really want to, you can pull off a cleric set with like aromatherapy, maybe leech seed, a toxic in there, and a healing wish or a heal bell. So, you know, it's possible, but it's not necessarily like your go-to option. I feel like Lilligant is really where it shines with the Quiver Dance set. It has kind of lackluster stats. I mean, the most notable thing is that 110 special attack stat. I guess if you really feel in yourself, you could run a Choice Scarf on this mon and make it fast in order to outspeed those nice threats and be able to take some hits and get some damage off with like the Giga Drains and things like that. Well, mostly just Giga Drain, actually, now that I look at its moveset. But yeah, that's exactly why I think it relies so much on like Quiver Dance and probably more like Cleric sets as well. So moving into our last round, we did pick up the Baby Hippo. The reason I wanted this is because I just didn't want what I originally had, which I don't really remember what it was. I can check what we had. Let's see. We had Mr. Mime Galler, and yes, it did provide me with more hazard control than what I have. I just felt like if I was picking up Lycanrock, I need sand. I need some kind of sand setting, and so the most thing that caught my eye was Hippopotas here in the final tiers. It gets access. You can use the Eviolite, which makes it a really defensive mon. I have seen Hippopotas do some things and just be able to sit in front of some big Draft League names. So really excited to see what Baby Hippo can do for us here. It gets access to things like Stealth Rocks and Earthquake and Toxic and Whirlwind and Yawn. So, you know, it's basically just mini what is it called? Hippowdon. And with that being said, that is going to be my draft for the PAC Gmax League. So yeah, I think we have a pretty solid team. So hopefully we can do that. I'm gonna post this on Saturday, and then the week after, I will post my week 1 battle. I'll probably mix with my my, what is it called? My week 2. There we go. That's what I was looking for. The week 2 battle. Simply because my week 1 battle is kind of short considering it was my first draft league battle back. So but yeah, I mean, all around it was a pretty good, it was a decent battle. But yeah, so I'm really excited for you guys to see those. And with that being said, I'm gonna get up on out of here. I'm Coach Talon, Coach Atlanta Brave Bears. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.